Long before she wore the crown, Anne Boleyn knew how to play the game, not with armies of swords, but with wit, charm, and forbidden tension. In the seductive world of Henry VIII's court, Anne didn't just flirt, she weaponized desire. Anne was no average court lady. She was bold, educated in French courtly customs, and completely unbothered by the idea of being just another royal side piece. Henry VIII was married to Catherine of Aragon when Anne entered the scene, but she wasn't interested in the role of mistress. Unlike her sister Mary Boleyn, who had already warmed the king's bed, Anne told Henry straight up, "If you want me, you marry me." And that lit a fire. What followed was 7 years of sexual tension and political foreplay. Anne played hard to get, not as a tease, but as a power move. She withheld physical affection, even as she let Henry drown in flirtation, letters, and fantasies. The king became obsessed. He started writing her passionate love letters, some borderline NSFW for their time, full of longing and frustration. In one, he basically said, "I wish you could kiss your pretty boobs," in 1500s royal language, of course. Anne didn't just seduce Henry, she changed him. She made him question his marriage, challenged Pope, and literally create a new church just to make her queen. The court was scandalized. Some whispered she was a witch. Others saw her as a manipulator with a mission. But whether you call it love, lust, or strategy, Anne Boleyn rewrote the rules. In the end, her bedroom politics built an empire and cost her her head.
Anne Boleyn wasn't just avoiding the bedroom. She was building an empire, one not yet at a time. Her entire strategy boiled down to one dangerous move: no ring, no thing. That wasn't just a personal choice, it was a calculated political tool. While other ladies gave in to the king's desires and faded into history, Anne held back, and by doing that, she stayed unforgettable. She knew exactly what Henry wanted, and instead of handing it over, she dangled the idea of it like treasure. People whispered that she made a vow of chastity. Some said it was spiritual, others believed it was all part of her plan. Either way, the king wasn't getting any until there was a crown involved, and he kept coming back. At the time, courtly love was a whole thing. Think of it like flirting with rules. Knights and nobles were expected to worship women from a distance, write poetry, give gifts, maybe sneak a kiss. But Anne didn't just play along, she flipped the script. She became the ultimate courtly love fantasy, but with a twist. There was just enough intimacy to spark obsession, and just enough distance to drive Henry completely insane. He sent her love letters, real ones, on scrolls sealed with his royal stamp. He wrote about how much he missed her, how his heart ached, and how badly he wanted to touch her. Some of the letters got so steamy they wouldn't pass today's community guidelines. And yet, Anne kept the door locked, symbolically and literally. She wouldn't let him in physically or emotionally unless he gave her something real, a marriage. The longer he waited, the more desperate he became. The King of England reduced to pacing, writing sappy letters, and sending gifts like a lovesick teenager. But Anne wasn't being cold, she was being strategic. She knew her power wasn't just in her beauty, it was in her refusal. That rejection became her leverage. Every not yet made her more powerful. Every locked door made her harder to replace. She wasn't teasing, she was training a king to value her like no other woman before. And the price of that desire? A crown, a country, and eventually, a war with the church. Anne didn't win by giving in. She won by holding back.
If there was ever proof that King Henry VIII was down bad for Anne Boleyn, it's in the love letters he wrote to her. 26 surviving scrolls of pure royal thirst. These weren't just casual messages. These were deep, dramatic, borderline NSFW declarations of obsession. And what makes it even wilder? Anne didn't write back. Not a single one has been found. She had him talking to himself in ink. Let's break down some of the gems. In one letter, Henry writes, "If you give yourself up to me, body and heart, I will take you for my only mistress, rejecting from thought and affection all others save yourself." That's 1500s talk for, "I will ghost every other woman in this palace if you just say the word." In another, he says, "I beg you with all my heart to let me know expressly your whole intention,
for it has been over a year since my heart has been bound to you. Translation, why are you still leaving me on red, Anne? And yes, he goes there. In one scroll, Henry literally talks about kissing her breasts. Politely, of course, but it's still there, hidden behind poetic language and royal flourishes. The king wasn't just falling in love, he was falling apart. What's clear from these letters isn't just Henry's lust, it's the power shift. Kings usually called the shots. They chased, they won, they moved on. But not with Anne. This time, she had the crown on a leash. The more he wrote, the more desperate he sounded, and the more silent she stayed, the more control she had. It wasn't just about physical desire. These letters show a man unraveling under the weight of his own emotions, begging for attention, craving a response. Meanwhile, Anne was somewhere reading them, probably smirking, knowing she had him completely wrapped around her finger. Visually, picture dim candlelight, Henry at his desk, quill shaking, ink blotting, pouring his royal heart out, while Anne, far away, is unbothered, unread, and still in control. In this game of lust and letters, Anne never had to say a word, and somehow, that made her voice the loudest in the room. Once Anne Boleyn grabbed Henry's full attention, the entire court went into full-on drama mode. Everyone wanted a piece of her, or wanted her completely erased. Being the center of royal obsession isn't just glamorous, it's a trap packed with jealous enemies and secret whispers. First off, Anne had allies, powerful nobles who saw her as the future queen and wanted to ride her rising wave. But just as many were ready to stab her in the back. Some courtiers were loyal to Catherine of Aragon, the queen Henry was desperate to ditch, and they hated Anne for trying to take her place. Others were just jealous dudes who'd lost favor, or mistresses jealous of Anne's power and influence. Jealousy in the Tudor court was like wildfire. Rumors spread fast. Whispers about Anne's inappropriate behavior started flying. Some said she was too flirty with other men. Others accused her of secret affairs or witchcraft. People claimed she used magic to hypnotize Henry. Whether true or not, these stories stuck like glue, staining her reputation. The court was obsessed with gossip, and Anne became the biggest headline. Everyone was watching her every move, trying to find dirt or catch her slipping. And Anne knew it. She was irresistible and dangerous at the same time, an intoxicating combo that made her both loved and feared. This wasn't just petty jealousy, it was a deadly game. If Anne lost favor, her enemies would pounce. The court wasn't just about fancy dresses and parties, it was a battlefield where power and survival were on the line. Visualize this: secretive glances, hushed conversations behind velvet curtains, the flicker of candlelight on suspicious faces. People leaned in close to overhear the latest scandal. Side eyes followed Anne everywhere she went, mixing awe with envy and hate. Being a queen-to-be meant Anne had to play chess, not checkers. Every smile, every word, every look had to be perfect. One wrong move, and she'd lose everything. The Tudor court was no place for the faint-hearted, and Anne? She was playing to win. Anne Boleyn's rise from the other woman to Queen of England wasn't just a fairy tale. It was a wild, risky power move that shook the entire kingdom. For years, she wasn't content being Henry VIII's secret crush or a fleeting mistress. She wanted the crown, the respect, and the kind of influence only a queen could hold. And through a mix of seduction, savvy, and straight-up guts, she got it. The final stage of Anne's rise wasn't just about passion behind closed doors. It was about changing the rules of the game entirely. Henry was already married to Catherine of Aragon, and the Pope refused to annul the marriage. So Henry did the unthinkable. He declared himself the head of the Church of England, broke away from the Catholic Church, and set the stage to marry Anne legally. This wasn't just love.
This was political revolution fueled by desire. Anne's ability to hold out on Henry for years, demanding marriage instead of just affection, showed how she flipped the power dynamic. Instead of being chased, she made Henry chase her and bend the entire kingdom to make it happen. It was a dangerous game, but she played it like a pro. Was Anne's rise driven by true love, ambition, or masterful manipulation? The truth is probably all of the above. She was smart, ambitious, and understood exactly how to use her allure and intelligence to get what she wanted. But there's no denying she and Henry shared a fiery passion that helped push this monumental change. Anne's bedroom politics left a huge mark on British history. Her refusal to settle for anything less than the crown forced Henry to start a new church, forever altering England's religious and political landscape. She didn't just win the king's heart, she changed the course of the nation. Imagine her coronation day, the moment the other woman was officially crowned queen. Westminster Abbey buzzing with nobility, Anne walking proudly wearing the crown that once seemed impossible to claim. Flashbacks to secret letters, locked doors, and all the tension that led her there remind us how much power she wielded through patience and strategy. Anne Boleyn's story isn't just about romance or scandal. It's about how one woman used desire, restraint, and boldness to rewrite history. She transformed bedroom politics into a throne room victory, making her name unforgettable.